right, welcome to the live edition of the Jeep Life Podcast. We're hitting it up. We're back in the studio, and we're waiting on people to come on so we can get this rolling. This table's really busy.
Busy?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. Don't get me wrong. But it busy. It busy.
Thought that was the point.
Yeah, I just never really noticed how chaotic it makes it. So if you want to add to our chaos.
Well, it doesn't help that I have a whole bunch of more stickers on my screen.
Got a whole, yeah. With my big one, I had a bunch on there, but I've kind of minimized with this one. Who's going to jump on first?
Me.
The three of us.
Right.
Me.
We'll give it a minute, and then we'll cruise right on in.
I think we're a little early.
A little bit. I think actually this was always sort of your original target time, and then it sort of drifted.
Yeah,
It kept drifting.
Drifted a whole day.
It did drift a whole day.
This is why you have to have leap year. It's like you have to have a leap episode, and then you can reset back to the original.
Well, that's what happens when the fall time comes around. We reset again.
Yeah.
Probably.
Who knows? Because Mondays suck, but they suck less than Sundays.
True.
Because if we're traveling,
timing
or something,
and travel.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's really what precipitated it, because it was like, hey, can we get together? How about tomorrow? And then it was like okay,
literally
5 of them, and it was like, maybe
might as well
we should
we
just
just
move this
yeah.
to Monday.
Absolutely.
That's it. Exactly. That's how it happens. That's how they get you. Yeah, it's slow going on Mondays, and I get that.
Mike's on. We got one. We can start. Hit
There
the button.
we go. Hit the button.
That's it.
Happy Monday. Hey, thanks, man. So got the hard top off of Lexus Jeep.
Yeah.
Sitting at Michael's right now.
Oh, he's got some extra space for you?
Yeah, if you sell it, I'll split the money with you.
He just...
But we haven't put the soft top on yet.
Oh. Well, it's going to be 9,000 degrees this week.
I know. But she wants it off.
I thought about taking the hard top off, but it's just too much work.
It's only the three of us. 20 seconds.
I have an extra 8 bolts that are buried.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yes.
For your rack.
Frame
rack.
attachments.
Yeah. So I have 4 bolts that are buried up underneath, up in between.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
All right. Never mind.
Yeah. It's
Never
not
mind.
fun. Not fun.
No.
See, on the flip side, I'm like, ooh, air conditioning this week.
Air conditioning does go.
Probably tomorrow we'll put her soft top on so she can put it up.
Just flip it up. Yeah.
Whatever she wants to do.
Is it the full? Which soft top is it? Is it just the full regular JK?
An OE soft top.
Yeah.
So that hard top is a gray that was only made for 1 year for one model Jeep, and it's the one that she has, the Sahara in the Red Rock Granite Crystal. So it's that deep burgundy with the gray top. Looks fantastic. The soft top matches that.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's the original one that came with it. I'm pretty sure it hasn't been on that Jeep.
Interesting.
So, it's a 14-year-old brand new soft top.
Can't complain about that.
It's a new old soft top.
Yeah, I can't wait to actually put it on. And
that's exactly what it's called. It's old new stock.
It's
old new stock.
New old
That's what it's called.
And I'm hoping that when we do put it on, it just doesn't go disintegrate.
It won't.
Yeah,
into
right.
nothing.
No, it won't.
But it's been kept up. It looked. I mean, it's still the windows are in the box that it came.
Yeah,
in.
right.
The door surrounds are in the plastic that it came.
Well,
in.
remember, it's weather and UV that shreds the heck out of that.
Absolutely.
And it's all been stored. So
Right.
Yeah, that's good.
yeah, so I'm excited about that.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Good stuff, man.
Probably should have saved that for the show, but
you can edit it in.
Yeah. Oh, maybe I can. Yeah,
you can. You can do whatever the hell you want to do.
It's if I have the time or the patience to do it.
True.
Or if I just go home and throw it all together tonight.
Go to sleep.
And then go to sleep.
Yeah.
That's what I did for last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever the hell the last time we got together was.
We've been busy, man. Traveling.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff.
I'm still trying
to
figure out exactly what time zone I'm in.
Well,
right.
I'm trying to just be alive.
Yeah. All right. Well,
you might as well hit the button.
I was going to say, let's just go ahead and get this party started. Well, hello and welcome to the Jeep Life Podcast, proudly presented by Armorlight, the toughest flooring on the trail. I am Jeep and Terry.
I'm Brady Billy.
Jetty Jason.
And we're at you. I don't know
we're
what
here.
We're at you. We're here, and it's awesome to be here. Our thanks to Armorlight for always being our amazing sponsor and partner with this. And, you know, we've got an exclusive discount, Jeep Life Podcast 10 for a complete Armorlight system at goarmorlight.com. Make sure you do that so they know it came from us, and that they'll continue sponsoring the show.
The longest.
They do have the longest
promo
running.
Code.
Yeah,
longest running promo code.
That's true. I hadn't thought of it that way. Speaking of longest running.
Yes.
My Jeep turned 7 today.
Wow.
7 years old.
Okay.
There you go.
146,000 miles on it.
Wow.
And it's probably going to fall apart on the drive home.
Yes, it is. Guaranteed. That's when the wheels fell off. Really.
It literally is
gonna be honest. Yep.
Yeah.
Now, is that based on a purchase date, a in-service date, or a manufacture date?
That is a purchase date when it became my Jeep. But when I test drove it, it had 6 miles on it.
Gotcha.
So I
Yeah.
know that literally I was the first person not employed by Jeep or a dealership to drive that vehicle.
Yep.
And that's pretty much been the standard since.
Yep.
So what would that have been? 2017?
Yeah. It's a 2017. It was June 17th as we're recording this on the 17th.
Yeah, and I'm like 2 months behind you because I got mine at the last day of August 2017, and I was in the same situation with that Chief. It was, maybe it was 11 miles on the thing.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So that's coming up.
Yeah, I think when I signed the papers, it was 14 miles.
There you
because
go.
I had driven it.
Drove it all over the, yeah.
I tripled the miles before I purchased it.
Well, I literally went multiple times to the dealership. This wasn't a go there, buy it, and be done. I'm the kind of person, I literally will go to a dealership like 4 or 5 times. Yeah. And it's not so much him and hauling. It's me wanting to make a connection and make sure I'm making the right purchase.
Gotcha.
I did that
Can't
for
go wrong with that.
all my Ford Flexes that I bought. Almost every new car that I've bought. You know, when I bought my 3rd Jeep, I did that because it was a new Jeep. The first two were college beaters that
different story.
So interestingly enough, talking about this over the past weekend, I was with some friends, and they asked me about my Jeep, and they were like, "Well, when did you get it? What was?" And I was like, "I went and test drove this Jeep 4 times."
Right.
Like consistently, just every week we just go back, retest drive, and haggle with them.
Yep.
To try to get it down to where I wanted to be because I knew I was like, okay, this, and this. And finally they came to my price, and I bought a used girl, but she's 9.
Yeah, she's 9. That's right.
9,
2016. Yeah.
2015.
2015. That's right.
2015.
Ooh. I love that. So happy birthday, Kylo. I didn't do a celebratory picture with him today. Maybe I will before it's all done. But yeah, so that's exciting. Now let's go back to Armorlight.
Okay.
I've had a box in my garage for quite some time.
Yes, you have.
And so this weekend, Father's Day weekend, I'm like, Lexi, you and I are going to spend some time together. We're going to do some stuff with your Jeep.
Yeah.
And so Saturday we went and cleaned it top to bottom because I knew we were going to store the hard top. So I wanted to get that ready to put away.
Yeah.
Then we took that and to Michael's house and graciously allowed us to.
It's got space.
Yeah, he's got the space, and it's a
out of
perfect
space.
space for it. Yeah, no doubt. You were option A,
and I'm out of space.
But it was one of those things where it just worked out. We went down there. We spent some great time together. Got lunch on the way back.
Cool.
And this weekend was absolutely gorgeous.
Oh,
so,
it was awesome. Yeah. Great weather.
She had to work on Saturday night, but Sunday we had already committed that was going to be the install the Armorlight day.
Yep.
And so we got working on it. As always, we were getting ready to take out the seats. We took out 7 of the bolts.
Yep.
And the 8th one wasn't budging a bit.
And I got the text message.
You got the text message. Are you home? I knew you weren't.
I was not.
I knew you weren't going to be home. And if you were home because you were going to a wedding the night before, you weren't in condition.
I was not in condition to turn a bolt.
But it was one of those things. I was so frustrated and exhausted because every single one of those bolts required a breaker bar. To get rolling. And I've got 2 breaker bars of different lengths, and the longer one, which I know that would have had the leverage.
Right. Didn't fit.
I couldn't fit it in there anywhere and get any leverage. And the last one was literally, it had to be a left-hand pull.
Yeah.
So I had already exhausted my right side of my body, and here I am. So I finally got the front seat enough. The passenger seat was out. No problem. That actually came out real easy.
That's
so
good.
you went like seats out. In the
seats
thing.
out.
Interesting.
Console.
Lifted.
Fully elevated, because she has a Sahara. Everything in that thing is all wired in versus mine. There's one electrical wire.
There
going
should
from
be
the
a
battery.
way easier harness in the back to pop.
Yeah.
And I also customized like some wiring when I had that up. I added like some USB chargers and some other convenience things. So like
you just gave
son of a bitch. Why didn't you?
Because I did that in the back too when I had to pop the plastic.
No, he's saying he should have done it yesterday.
Yeah, where were you yesterday? Oh,
I don't know, man. I was home, but anyway. But like I get what you mean, because like when you're trying to pop that center up, you're already fighting with the parking brake.
Yes.
And then it's like a secret handshake to get that the automatic pop. You gotta like, do I really pull on it that hard? And it comes
07
off.
to 11
is
way easier.
Yes,
because it actually, you can use a screwdriver to pry it up.
Yeah,
way easier. Because I remember when I was doing it on the 17, I literally had my entire weight on it.
This was actually funny enough. You came over here and you're like, I can't get it off. I cannot get it off, and I'm like.
Yeah. He did. It was. It looked so.
It's a secret handshake. You just got to know what it is to get that shifter knob off.
Yeah. So these were super easy. So we got it elevated, got it out there. I cleaned out all. It was like Lexi was like, "This is the grossest." She almost threw up inside the Jeep. So I can't clean this
underneath.
Underneath this.
The mysteries of faith.
Oh.
What's underneath the carpet?
Obviously, they had a dog too, and it was just not good. And there was like $4 and change under
that's
there.
Good.
So that went right in the.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, like I made
$1.50.
Yeah.
I cleaned all that change in a little jar. But it was awesome. Got that out, but the driver's seat, that one bolt,
just wouldn't come out.
Would not come out, and so I'm like, you know what? The seat, I can now move the seat enough.
Okay.
And with the other seat out,
right,
it actually worked out fine. Yeah. So we put the Armorlight in. It had been sitting in the sun all day, so it was nice and pliable.
That's funny.
Because I got out at 7:30 that morning, and the first thing I did was open up the box and throw it out, and then started doing all the prep work, getting everything out. But got it installed. I'll still have you there's 2 places that just needs a little pull to make things seat a little better. It's close, but
especially like when you're trying to line it up to get
yeah,
like the plugs in and stuff.
That's where I'm at.
The brand new,
yeah,
as well engineered and as measured out as it is.
Yeah.
It's always just a little nudge here and there.
Yeah, and I was so weak by the time I tried to do that last bolt.
You're toast.
I
End of it.
I was so sore last night. It was ridiculous. But we got that installed, and man, it changed the look of her Jeep on the inside. I mean, it just night and day. I'd kind of hoped to get the tan one, but I kind of put that in David Cale's hand. I'll get it. And so it was the black one.
You did the black.
No, it's the black one. And end up she's much happier with the black one than she would have been the tan one. But I
celebrate those that go with the tan.
I agree with you. But it looks good. They sent black and red drain plugs for us, and we put the black ones in. Looks fantastic. Looks real good and clean.
It's always sharp.
Yep.
Then we ended up I had some Oracle headlights I wanted to throw in there, so we put those in. And actually, I didn't do a thing with those. She did those. And then we put her Jeep Club banner on.
Yeah, I saw pictures of that.
And that looks great. We argued for a little bit on that. It's so long.
Mm-hmm.
And the windshield of that JK is just slightly curved enough. It makes it really difficult to line up. And so I'm like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put down a line of masking.
Yep.
And we put down a line of masking, and we built everything off of that. Then I cut it into 4 sections so that we could just do one word.
And
it went on in a third of the time.
Yep.
And without frustrations and everything. And she's like, how's it going to line up? I we cut
it's like
this.
You just
we
trust the process.
I did it almost the same thing, except I split it in half.
Yeah.
And then lined it up.
Yep.
And then just had painter's tape positioning everything. And then once that was there, got it tacked. And once it's tacked, once you get that first little bit, that's always key because that's sets the tone.
Well, that defines it, right? But it also, when you're starting something, a little minuscule angle off.
Yeah, you're 3 inches off on the other
exactly. So you have to be real careful in that first spot.
It's like that bad haircut.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, that's not going to look good over there.
I was like, how are we going to reach this? And I was like, you're going to stand up in the center because you don't have your top.
Yeah, well, that's what I did. I took my panels out
always
and I did it from the top.
Out. Yep.
Yeah, do it from there. Is it not hard to see upside down? No. You did this before with your TJ.
Because you don't care about reading it. You're
right.
caring about lining the thing up.
Has to be
it's
lined
all
up.
about lineup, yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
So, we got to do Jeepy things together.
So you did some Jeeping.
And,
Jeep stuff.
Some Jeep stuff together. Good. And it was a good time. We were both beat when it was all done.
Yeah.
In the Armorlight, I love it when it's in, but we've done enough of those installs that it's a rough.
It can be, yeah.
It can be.
People are like, oh, how is it? I'm like, it ain't that bad.
And actually,
the
to be
best
honest
part's
with you,
when you asked me about the LJ, and I'm like, because I had done the TJ.
Yeah, well,
and I'm like, oh, you got to take everything out of this.
Yeah, I realize. Yeah.
Well, and that's what makes it easier, actually.
Oh yeah,
taking everything out.
When I did the
TJ, all the trim out.
TJ was a cakewalk once you got everything out, but. Let me tell you about breaker bars and bolts.
Yeah.
Let me not be the one you ask about that because I'll be like, oh, this is easy. Look at this 3-foot breaker bar I have. Wow, it gets easier as you turn it. Oh, boink.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's not going back in.
That was the metal stretching into it. Yeah, it's called a breaker bar for a reason.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
But that was good, and that was cool.
Yeah, so happy Father's Day to all of the fathers out there. Day late, but we're still saying happy Father's Day to everybody out there. We actually hung out on Friday.
Yeah, we did some garage time.
Yeah, well, I was wrenching. You were sitting.
That's what I do.
It's all good.
I was getting stuff for you. I was being your little bitch.
You were helping. It was actually quite nice. On Thursday last week, I was driving my buddy home, and all of a sudden, real hard miss like sputter and just running rough. I'm like, crap. So I run the diagnostic codes, and it was a P0201 and a misfire in cylinder 3, which is a P0301, I think. And that pretty much led me to understand that I had an injector go bad.
So was it a cylinder 3 injector or cylinder 1?
1 injector.
That's what I thought. Yeah, because 3 would follow it up, right?
So 3 is the P03 that's the designation for the misfire. P02 is the designation for the injectors. So and that's kind of just, so I went through. I went, ordered, got the injector, this, that, and the other thing. Took the whole thing apart because you got to take the plenum off to get it. It was just annoying, but yeah. So, Big Red got a new injector.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where we were actually talking that it's such a pain in the ass because the way it's designed, it all fits in great, but you have to take the intake manifold off. It's not hard. There's nothing challenging about it.
But it's just a pain in the
It's time consuming. It's a pain in the ass. And you
want to do plugs? Intake. You want to deal with the oil filler? Intake. You want to do
intake.
Intake. Hey, intake.
You need to get to your coil packs. Intake.
Yeah, and you never did anything bigger than an 8 or a 10 millimeter.
No.
It was,
entire time was an 8 and 10 millimeter. I can take that entire motor apart with an 8 and 10 millimeter.
That's true. Well, now here's a good question for you. Every time you take that off, do you put new gaskets in?
No.
You're like, no, these go right back in.
They're fine.
I always feel like every time I go, I don't need new gaskets, it'll be the time where somehow it comes out a little bit, and because it's stretched, taking it off, it doesn't go back in the channel, and you're like, damn, I bet
it's going back in.
Nope.
That bitch is going back in.
It didn't even move.
No,
like
if you're able to pull it straight up,
you're fine.
Yeah.
Well, that's because you regularly take it.
I'm pretty good at it, man. I'm pretty good at taking the thing apart and put it back together.
Yeah,
most of the time, it still runs.
It was funny. That's one of the few things that I'm really okay at by this point. Is I've done my coil packs. I've done my spark plugs.
I've got so much PM coming up right now.
Yeah.
I texted him because I go, I gotta have a conversation because I've got a mile long list across 4 Jeeps of stuff.
Yep.
And it's like, how am I going to get all this done? And I've just got to get a structured thought process down.
Gotta sit down and do
because
it.
It's all piled up. Because like we were talking before we hit the big button.
Yeah.
We've all been busy. Well, I've been traveling since like the beginning of May, mostly for work, followed by 2 weeks in Europe with the family. So it's like 6 weeks. I don't know where the last 6 weeks went.
They just disappeared.
So it went from like a race to sort of gather everything and kind of get my head around like these projects. Like I got 2 front hub bearings that got to get done on the JL. I've got the oil filler in the 2014. That's also going to be coils and everything like we were just saying, because when it's off, that's the time to do it. It's just every car has about 6 or 8 hours worth of stuff.
Absolutely.
Yep. And it's like, okay,
well,
just got to get a thought process.
I have to do all
together.
the oils this week. It's like my Jeep needs it done, her car needs it done,
that's
the truck needs it done. It's like,
and I've got that. I've got like brake fluid in all of them.
Yep.
Yeah, my car, the one shelf in my garage looks like you went to AutoZone because it's just like 40 gallons of oil, like 700 quarts of .3. Like it's just, why do you need all this product? It's like, there will be a little bit left over when I do, because I figure I'm just going to do a reset on everybody, because some of those as used vehicles, I don't have service histories to know exactly when, but I know pulling a sample of the fluid, I'm like, well, that wasn't done yesterday. So I'm just, it's the old penny of prevention beats a $1 cure, pound of cure, whatever it is. So.
Yeah, it piles up. I mean, even when we had all the bolts out for the seats, I was like, Lexi hit them with a wire brush and
wire wheel, and
so she got the wire wheel out, and she was all excited about doing that. And
I had
so all of them went in super easy. Didn't come out that way, but they all went in.
Yeah, I actually with doing all this stuff on the TJ, I actually had a set of thread chasers.
Yeah,
different than tap and die.
Yeah,
thread chaser. and I thread chased all the bolts, which actually was easier than the wire brush because a lot of it had caked on whatever, pseudo anti-seize, goop, gawk, like whatever in there. So you have both the male and the female thread chaser. So you clean the bolt up and clean the threads out.
Yeah.
And that, with a little bit of anti-seize, putting everything back, I go, this will never be a problem for the rest of the life of this vehicle.
Yeah.
Or at least the rest of the life I own this vehicle.
That's kind of
That's right. That's right.
Go, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right.
Yep, 100%.
Good work. So as we're getting ready to go into our calendar, I just got back from Bantam Jeep Fest.
How was it, man? Well, first, we're going to talk about some winching.
Oh, that's coming later in the episode.
Later in the episode. There's winching.
Yeah, Joe, so thanks for your question earlier.
Yes.
We'll get to that. And if you got a question or a comment or anything, throw it at us.
Yep. Info at jeeplifepodcast.com.
You got
Once
it.
again, info at jeeplifepodcast.com. Send us a damn email already.
We get them. So Bantam.
Yeah, how was it?
So Friday was the Friday of the event. It was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event. I went down Thursday, got everything set up. It was set up is fine. They run a good show there.
Yeah.
They're really nice people. They're wonderful. Patty Joe's great, and the whole group of volunteers. I mean, it's an enormous amount of people that help out. Friday was windy AF. It was
Just breeze.
kept
on blowing. And that is a big field up there. Like it kind of just rolls through that area.
It does, and it whips through. I couldn't have anything on the table except for the displays, and even those were moving around. I had concrete blocks holding down the tent, and I was still at times would reach up and grab it.
Wow.
Instinctively, because it wasn't going anywhere. But still, it was.
Hear it.
You have witnessed them gain flight.
Yeah,
and land on somebody else's vehicle.
I have caught one in mid-flight in Moab.
Wow.
It was a tread lightly tent, and it was one of those things that literally saved Scott Emmerman's life. As it was going through him and another show vehicle, and I grabbed that tent and hugged it. Like
I hugged it.
It was a soft hug. It was nice, but it was good. I love that show because of the encampment of the Jeeps in the military encampment, and then they've got an indoor museum that's great, and then you see skills test and the obstacle course, which was they added a teeter-totter,
okay,
which was pretty awesome to watch people try to balance on that. But the whole time I was there, I didn't see a single person
be able to do it.
Yeah, I don't know why, but it didn't look like it was going to. Whatever. Maybe somebody rushed too high,
ran
too
out of
fast,
talent.
and ran out of talent. And then on the other side is Jeeps parked.
Yep.
Friday, not so many people. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's still at work. But the Friday night event invading the downtown,
that's nuts.
might have been the biggest I've ever seen.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I didn't participate per se.
Right.
I went, because by the time I got everything taken down and everything, I grabbed some dinner on the way, stopped downtown and parked, 2 blocks away, and then walked in, and it was as big as I've ever seen. As far just the number of people, number of Jeeps, and everything. We had some Oracle Mardi Gras beads that lit up.
That's cool.
That I passed out. That was a lot of fun. Got to talk to a lot of people and and see some really cool rigs, and that's the cool thing about that show is there's a lot of heritage Jeeps. There's a lot of older MBs and CJ
cool stuff.
older stuff that you don't see everywhere. Being Bantam, you get to see all the older stuff because that's the birthplace of Jeep per se. But it's cool, and Saturday was busy. Sunday, not so much. I mean, to be honest with you, they could easily get away with doing no vendor show at all on Friday or Sunday, doing the
Just a
Jeep
big
Invasion
Saturday
on
type of
Friday, all day Saturday, and then Sunday could be left open still
Yeah.
for the trail rides, the other stuff. So maybe that's my feedback to them is there's no need to have vendors there all 3 days.
I would actually agree with you. I was there last year, and it was kind of the same deal. Friday during the day was kind of slow.
Yeah.
Friday night was crazy. Saturday during the day was all crazy. Saturday afternoon, night into wee hours, everything fun, good time.
And then Sunday's
and
sort
Sunday's
of a decline.
dead.
Yep. I mean, the obstacle course and stuff like that still pseudo busy on Sunday, but nobody's shopping on Sunday, and it's fine, whatever it is. But as someone who sees it from inside a booth, that's what I would suggest. And
Right.
I think that what it does, it relieves the tension off of the vendors. Maybe they can come and go downtown and do something fun downtown, and then do the show on Saturday, and not have to be, and then get on to the next show, because I mean it's literally
it's the
Right.
season now
Right.
too.
But it was a good show. I love the people there. It's a lot of fun. You get to see friends you haven't seen in a while, and it was good. So I would encourage everybody. I think it's the first or second weekend in June usually. So make sure to get there and see it. I know you were there last year, and I wasn't able to make it.
Correct.
And then I was there the 2 previous years. So
Mm-hmm.
it's worth going to for sure. All right, what else is on the calendar?
Well, on June 29th is Reclaim for First Responders event in Columbus, New Jersey, put on by the Pine Barrens Venom Jeep Club, and that is a benefit to help out the first responders of Columbus, New Jersey.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a good event. Make sure to stop by and enjoy some of the Jeeps. July 12th to the 14th is New Jersey Jeep Invasion, and it's going to be a rocking good time down the shore in Wildwood, New Jersey. We're going to be there. We're going to be hanging out, representing, hanging out at the Oracle booth, hanging out with our friends over at the Jeep Enthusiasts. So that is July 12th to the 14th. And on July 13th, Saturday night, there is going to be a special event hosted by Oracle, New Jersey Jeep Invasion Light Party over at Cold Spring Brewing.
And if you pay attention, you may run into folks from the podcast.
You may.
You might.
You
just might.
You just might.
might see somebody. July 19th to the 20th is PA Allbridge Jeep Fest in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, and I will be there.
Nice.
Mhm.
I'm 50-50.
I will be there hanging out with the Quadratech guys.
Nice.
So.
Nice. I won't. I'll be at the same beach I was at the week before.
Okay. And I might have the buggy there, so
Ooh,
if you're around and I'm free, you might be able to convince me to take you for a ride.
I know we've done that in the past.
Yep.
Gone up to
Absolutely.
the obstacle course in the buggy and
And
take
we're
people.
accepting sponsorships or donations if you want to drive it.
There you go.
But there's also a sign on the dotted line that you're responsible for all parts and
That's right.
broken pieces
And
and
broken
blah, blah, blah.
pieces.
Please don't start. don't lawyer insert here. August 2nd to the 4th is Toledo Jeep Fest in Toledo, Ohio. It's going to be a great one. August 22nd to the 24th is Great Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. It's going to be a roaring good time. Wow, that is coming fast.
Oh,
Let me tell you.
It is.
I will definitely
The
be
summer's
there.
just starting, and
I know.
before you
It's
even
crazy.
turn the corner, it's midway.
August 25th is the Warren Trail Ride at Windrock Park in Oliver Springs, Tennessee. So,
That'll be a good time.
It will
for
be
sure.
a really good time.
I'm going to insert something here that I don't have on the list.
Okay.
Our
Inserting.
our friends at Detroit 4Fest.
Oh, I
is
remember this one from last
September 6th to the 7th
Okay.
at Hollyoaks ORV Park.
Yep.
They do a real good job putting on a great show, and I'm trying my best to get there this year.
That'd be cool.
Detroit's a long ways from here, but I'm still trying to get
That it is.
and even further from New Orleans.
That's true.
So, But I'm doing my best. I would like to get there. I know our friends over at Tyree Lighting will be there.
That's cool.
And so I have to go and
represent.
Yeah.
Oracle.
Yeah.
September 21st to the 22nd is Fall New Jersey Jeep Invasion in Ocean City, New Jersey.
Which I'm really conflicted on because I will be there. But that's also our fall trail ride.
Oh, yes. I saw this unfortunate reply in our little side string about
Yeah, I'm not.
That's a shame. We're going to miss you, buddy.
I know,
it's the first one.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not the first one you missed?
No, I missed one because I was working in California.
Oh, that's right. That one didn't count, though.
It didn't count. Exactly.
Now it's serious. Now you're not allowed to miss these things.
If only I had the power to change.
To force somebody else to come up here.
Oh, my God.
Right. It'd change either way. If I could move it 1 week earlier.
October 19th is Crawling for Canines at AOAA, Anthracite Outdoor Adventure Arena. And we're going to be hosting 2 trail rides. Mr. Jetty Jason is going to be hosting a group ride.
Greens, blues for me. And what's yours? Are you doing like black, red, or just
doing
black?
Black, red, yeah.
Whoever
insane.
shows up, what you get.
Yeah, so I've actually gotten some of the guys that are coming in the group, so they're all really capable rigs, and it's black, red, extreme.
So gotcha.
Dumb.
11.
Turn it to 11.
Well, those are the start of the calendar. I know there's stuff after that, but that's all that needs to be done. This is the season. But look for us at any of the shows we're going to be at. Make sure to get a selfie with us or get a sticker or, whatever products I might be slinging, whatever lights I might be slinging. And we did get a question, and even on in the unprompted in the chat of the podcast tonight, we got a live question. And it's something I've been thinking about is winching and winching details. And, in this particular, what are the top winch brands and models that would serve the needs of the majority of Jeepers? Are the expensive winches worth the money? So we're going to take some of that, and, hopefully you'll be able to deduce. Thanks, Joe, for that. You always have great questions. Deduce on your own what those might be. But the first question that I think might be more important than brands, than costs and all that stuff is really what capacity, weight capacity, and what does that mean on a winch? Some say 8,000 is plenty, and 8,000 significantly less than 10,000 or 12,000 pound winches. That may be true. So let's talk a little bit about what that capacity means. And we don't have to say what it means as far as pulling, 8,000 pounds, 10,000 pounds, whatever. But what does that mean to us in the real world?
Right.
We're stuck on the trail.
It don't matter a number. It's does it get me out?
That's the key, right?
Numbers are when you're out on the trail. Numbers are obsolete. They don't mean anything. It's does your winch get you out safely?
Yes, and so
keyword safely.
Is an 8,000 pound winch right for you? For you, if it's the first winch you're going to buy, maybe. But when you start thinking about 5,200 pound vehicle, 5,800 pound vehicle after you've started adding tires, lift, all the armor, everything, you're getting close to that 8,000 number. And the rule of thumb, I don't know that it necessarily applies as much, but it's always been get twice the amount you need to pull.
Minimum 1.5.
Right? So I think 8,000 is great for those heavy side-by-sides and
I would have to agree with
side.
that. So kind of rule of thumb as kind of going back to what Terry said here is no matter what, when you're looking at purchasing a winch for your Jeep, for your vehicle, Doesn't matter, big, small, otherwise. 1.5 times the base weight of the vehicle.
Yeah.
That means curb weight, fully loaded, everything that you're going out wheeling with.
Fuel.
Yep.
And people,
you're
things, stuff.
You're a single person because
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
When
You're
when
unloading.
You're pulling out,
Yeah.
That's fair.
So take that number, multiply it by 1.5 minimum,
Yeah.
and you are going to get the rating that you are recommended to put on the front of your vehicle. It's not going to equal out to be 10,000 pounds. It's not going to equal out to 12,000 pounds. Now, if you have a really heavy rig,
Yep.
a.k.a., some of these big trucks or, Gladiators now that are getting Dana 60s and big 40s and this, that, and the other thing, you may want to think about twice as much as the curb weight. However, you're going to get into a situation that the number that you come up with isn't going to be available.
Right.
So I would recommend the common thing to put on the front of a Jeep Wrangler, 4-door JKJL, anything under the sun, 10,000 pounds. If you're getting into like a TJ, you can probably get away with a light TJ, simple 35s, general regular stock axles, everything. I would say you get away with an 8,000-pound winch on a TJ.
Yeah.
They're really not that heavy.
I didn't think about that because I'm JK centric.
Yep.
And living in the JLJT world.
Yeah, we got all Jeeps matter, man.
Oh, they do, and I'm sorry that I have let you guys down.
No, but I would say definitely the 10,000 pound is a good area to kind of stay in. 12,000 pounds if you really, you load your Jeep up with a lot of stuff, or you're, extra heavy,
or you want the margin.
Or you want the margin.
Because, I think the other two factors that come into play, given what you've already kind of listed off, is also what kind of terrain are you getting in?
Right.
Are you going to have to get up and over rocks? Are you doing this all uphill? Is this muddy? Am I stuck in the mud, getting out of the mud into the rocks, over the rocks, up the hill? So am I getting deep in, how soft is it? So now you were talking before we got on about, there is a fudge factor. If, now I'm axle deep in the mud, now that's going to add a factor to that you really need to that's that buffer.
Yep.
10 might have been my number given everything you just said, but that 12 is giving me the buffer for now I'm in the goop.
So yes and no.
Okay.
So here's the thing. When you start getting sunk in the goop, which, the mud, the suds, the whatever, when you sink to your axles, front and rear axle sunk in the mud, tires sunk, everything of the sort, you just multiplied your pulling or the amount that you need to pull by 2.
So you're already out of the number.
So this is where winching techniques come into play.
Yes.
A lot of big things. So there you go. Sunk to the axles, 2 times the weight of the vehicle. Sunk to the frame, you are 3 times the weight of the vehicle that you need to pull that vehicle out. Now, that doesn't include, like as we said, that resistive force of the suction itself.
Yep.
The, is it uphill?
Right.
Is it, downhill? Is it, is there giant rocks? Is there a log in the middle of the mud? This, that, and the other thing. So as we're kind of going into that, we need to learn the techniques.
Right.
However, I want to touch on something real quick. When we say 10 and 12,000 pound winches, this is the maximum theoretical weight that winch can pull and hold.
Yes.
12,000 pounds. So that is the amount that the brake inside the winch itself is rated to hold when you are using it at capacity.
Yes.
They will not pull that much weight. They don't.
Yeah.
I hate to burst your bubbles out there, but they do not pull that weight.
No.
Maximum theoretical pull power.
So with that, most 10 and 12,000, let's say you've got a 10,000 pound Warren winch and a 12,000. Isn't most of that motor exactly the same? It's just geared differently.
Winch itself.
Yes.
So yes, most of the winch itself is the same. Both of the usually the the cradle or the chassis itself of the winch, identical.
Yep.
The housings are identical.
The planetary gears are different.
Yes.
Yep.
So the motor itself, they're both, say, if you go on Schmitty-Built's website and you're looking at their 10,000-pound winch and their 12,000-pound winch, and it says 3.9 horsepower motor.
Yeah.
But they're two different pull powers. It all comes down to what Terry said, the planetary gears, which planetary gears is a set of internal and external sleeves that house a set of gears that rotate in conjunction with each other. And as you change the gear ratios, it allows you to pull more power. It's something similar to the 4-low in your Jeep.
Oh, yeah.
So the 4-low is a planetary gear, and that's how that works.
And I'm glad that you're here to answer that question, because I knew the top level of it. I didn't know the in-depth of it. So let's
so for example, here's actually an example. Usually, I think on the Schmitty-Built, I just know these numbers off the top of my head weirdly. I'm 95% sure the Schmitty-Built 10K is like 159 to 1 ratio, where the 12K is like 219 to 1.
Okay.
So like that kind of, it's about a 50 to 62 difference to increase that power by 2,000
Yes. Now when we're talking, because I didn't want to really get into the techniques of winching. Maybe we'll do that another time.
I just want, the one thing that I really wanted to touch on when I said techniques is the ability to make snatch blocks.
That's where I was going with that.
So if you need to increase the pull power of your winch, you need to
put it on a pulley.
Add a snatch block, add a pulley. So, and we're going to actually kind of transition into the ropes and stuff as well.
Yep.
So, or your cable. And a pulley is going to double the amount of force that you can pull in a straight line. So you go up and back, obviously, or you can go up, back, and go back again.
Yep.
You can do 3, you can do 4. Every time you do a loop, you double it. So if you have a 10,000-pound winch and you're going up and back, that's 20. If you're going with a 12,000-pound, up and back, 24. Up, back, and back, just continue. That is where you can increase your pulling capacity by a lot, and that's how you can take a very small winch and pull your very stuck Jeep out of very deep mud.
Yeah, if you're in that kind of situation, your best bet isn't to single line to a tree.
It's not going to do it.
It's not to single line to another vehicle or have them pull you. It's to a snatch block in the process.
You're using
You're using
mechanical
physics.
advantage.
Right.
Yep.
So I would love for us to come back and maybe do a techniques episode. I know we've touched on it in the past, but I think it'd be a good way to kind of review that.
So, and then kind of going into that, the line that is on your winch itself, there's the synthetic line, there's cable out there. So, in my professional opinion, I believe synthetic is the most appropriate to put on the front of a vehicle. We are not heavy wrecker recovery guys.
Right.
We do not know the proper, angles and this and that, and what to listen for in a cable when it's being pulled, and understanding the stress fractures that they search upon. They know they're certified to do. We are not those people.
No.
Synthetic line is very forgiving in your life.
Yes.
As in with your life.
Yes.
So, I think synthetic is the best because it stores energy, but it doesn't really store energy. It usually just shoots back. It's like a giant rubber band. It just wants to shoot back to the inside the winch, or it'll go to the tree. But I have actually been somewhat close to one of these and gotten like the second whiplash of it. It doesn't hurt. It's just rope.
Right.
Like, it's designed to fall. It's designed to just be free.
It's also lighter weight.
And lighter weight. You're probably looking at about a 40-pound difference between cable and synthetic. However, cable has its benefits.
Yeah.
Like if you're in a really rocky area and you're doing a lot more of recoveries in bigger rock sections, you might want to go with cable because it lasts a lot longer.
It's less susceptible to sharp edges.
Yep, sharp edges. So I would say it's more based on your application. However, I still think synthetic is the best way to go because it's just, you don't want to be if you want to see, go online and look.
Yeah. So if somebody's purchasing a winch, and right now, there's a winch on sale with steel cable, I almost would recommend getting that winch.
Yeah.
And maybe a year later when you go and inspect the steel cable and everything, then you go, you know what, it's time to add a synthetic line. And all of a sudden you've saved money on the front end so that you can buy a synthetic line later on.
So there's only one thing that I need to warn you guys about, though, is that there are two different brakes that, as in like the physical brake itself that they use inside of the drum to make sure to stop and hold the weight. Cone brakes will accept both synthetic and cables. The drum brakes that they use on some of these winches, they don't really use them much anymore. They were in earlier winches. They tend to heat up over time when using them really vigorously. So putting a synthetic cable on that drum brake will cause it actually to melt to the drum itself.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Synthetic line, speaking of which.
Yes.
Not all synthetic line is created equal.
There is Dyneema. There is Chineema. And guess what? Chineema's stronger. Sometimes. No. So Dyneema or Warren has their Spider Tech something, Spider Weave or whatever it is. Dyneema is Dyneema. General Dyneema hole, whatever it is, 3/8 inch Dyneema holds approximately 18,000 pounds. So,
and that's direct.
That's
weight.
point to point straight line pull, 18,000 pounds. Yeah, that's your brake strength on that rope. However, when you put in splices and you do loops and you run them over rocks, it drastically reduces that capacity.
Yes.
So make sure you are pulling in safe manners.
And so Warren offers their Spidura.
That's what it is.
In 3/8 inch or 7/16 inch configurations. And I'm no mathematician, but the 7/16 seems like it would be that much thicker.
Just a hair.
Mm-hmm. So it probably means it's a little stronger.
So they probably actually put a whole nother layer in it.
Yeah. So pre-tensioning line when you're running synthetic, make sure that happens.
Yep. You got to pre-tension your winch line. So pull it out all the way with about 4 to 5 wraps left on the drum. When you pull it off, sorry. So you're going to pull all your line out when you're looking to pre-tension your winch, and you're going to have a friend or a buddy or a tree to pull upon, and pretty much you're going to set your e-brake a few clicks and give it some resistance and pull your winch in.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you helped me with mine when we were camping, and we hooked the buggy to it.
Yep.
And I just pulled you up a gradual slope, and you were just in neutral.
Just
I was
you need
parked.
Weight on it because it stretches the rope around the drum, which also forces this to create a tighter pattern on top of the drum, so it doesn't actually cut into itself. Because the rope tends to spread, and as you increase the weight.
Yeah, and it also allows it to a little bit tighter to keep debris and stuff out. as well. So I mean, there's so many benefits to making sure that you do pre-tension your line. It also unreleases itself when you're out on the trail easier. There's just a lot of benefits to that.
Yeah.
So synthetic, if you can do it, still's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Just be aware of how you do it, the safety measures that you take with that.
With steel, make sure you have extra sweatshirts or something of the sort, some type of damper to put on top of that to be safe.
Yes.
A lot of recovery kits include that if you're getting a kit.
I'm going to be honest with you. You ever see what steel cable does to one of those dampers that come in those?
Whips right through it.
Oh, it is. It shreds them to pieces. Doesn't even think twice about it.
Becomes a one-time use thing.
It is a one-time use thing. So I'm dead serious.
Well, I mean, I've seen people on longer
towels,
lines is like
Yep.
two or three things along the length.
heavy-duty towels.
Because depending where it pops,
Mhm.
and then you have several things getting
weight bags
right.
I've seen. Like it's serious because when you put 10,000 pounds stored energy into one of these cables and they let loose, nothing stops it.
It's a knife at that point.
Yeah, it is a knife. They go through windshields. They go through people. This isn't something to mess around with.
Yeah.
So synthetic recommendation.
Yeah, from a safety standpoint. All right, so here's the most important question of the whole night. What winch should I consider with clean, compact look? Is pulling power more important?
I can appreciate. I have seen some very nice, like the way that I've seen people with certain makes and models nooked in.
Yeah.
You almost don't realize that there's a winch. I'm like, oh, it's got a nice look. I'm like,
yeah.
And is that like a 5,000 pounds tucked in there? It's like mine's pretty much right there as yours is. You know, there's no fooling around hiding a 12,000 pounder.
No. Let's just go ahead and put it out there. Most modern winch companies care about aesthetics a little bit, and so they will make it look a little less utilitarian.
Yeah.
Even though a winch is nothing but utilitarian.
A winch is a
most
winch.
certainly.
Right.
If you look at like the really old Warrens,
it's designed to do two things: pull in and let line out.
Right. So if looks is important to you, get the one that's cutest for you. If it's not, then most of the reputable brands
don't look bad.
They don't look bad, and
they're aesthetic,
and they do the job. You want one that without a shadow of a doubt, when you're in trouble or your friend is in trouble, that you're going to feel good about hooking that up. And, some brands I feel more comfortable with than others. Just plain and simple.
I just know too much.
I know, right? Yeah.
Better ignorance is bliss in your case.
So, there
are a lot of great brands out there.
Yes.
There are a lot of different winches out there.
Hmm.
No matter what, there is one in every batch. There's going to be an issue with a winch.
Yeah, at some point.
And unfortunately, sometimes it's you and sometimes it's your buddy. It doesn't mean that it's a bad brand.
Right.
Sometimes you get bad castings, you get this, that, and the other thing. It happens in manufacturing. However, there are some brands out there that take extra precautions to make sure that their winch performs better, or also adds in extra features, as in like IP rating, or making sure that there's protections inside of that winch technology to make sure that it doesn't run away on you, make sure it doesn't have issues, make sure
or get itself into because that time that I basically winched up 80% of the trail.
Yeah.
We had to give it a minute because it had a thermal cutout because it was running at 80% for an extended period to get through a long section.
Yeah, duty cycles and how much you can run it for, how long
but
you
it's
can.
protecting itself. It's like, hey, give me a minute.
It turns itself
I'm making
off.
sure I'm not going to torch this, $700-800 winch.
Yes.
As someone who's written instructions for winches, yes, the winches are rated for that for so long.
Correct.
And it's not a long period of time. You can't pull for 4 minutes straight.
You're not supposed
and
to.
expect that winch not to either burn out, fail,
Yep.
or shut itself
Well, it's
down.
also a matter of
It's-
load. I
yeah.
was going up the hill
Yep.
with the Jeep there,
Yep.
straight lined, so there was no mechanical advantage on it.
Mhm.
It was just, hey, going from A to B, A to B.
Yeah.
And for a couple of minutes at a clip. So yeah, that thing's getting toasty.
Yeah.
And when I put my hand on it, I was like,
can
oh,
feel
that
it.
thing's toasty. If you're just reeling it in or you're preloading or something
Yep.
like that, no, that's not gonna. It's not gonna freak the thing out.
No,
it's just
but
those
if you're under
extended runs
yeah,
under
so
load
the recommendation max, I think it's 80% load
for like 90
for a
seconds.
minute
is it?
straight.
Yeah, okay.
You need to have 14 minutes of cool down time, so it's a
Wow.
15-minute window.
And it's that. And I would recommend that so that you're not.
Cooking.
Yeah. Or you're
And
not, yeah.
you can get a winch to cook because I've gotten them that hot.
Yeah. And when they cook, they could fail, and that's not good.
Mm-mm.
Well, hence the safety precautions in them, as Billy was saying.
So the other, what are you putting your winch on? Make sure that it's
Oh, I'm just bolting that sucker straight to the frame, guys.
right. Well,
All my plastic factory.
I got my plastic back. I got to put it on my bumper.
yeah,
What do you mean? Where am I putting it?
yeah, exactly,
No.
exactly.
But it is actually, Terry's alluding to a structurally integral, some type of winch plate. And that is not the plate that goes underneath your winch to just put it onto your bumper. We're talking about a winch plate that is designed to mount the winch to your frame in a structural manner that you will not be pulling and all of a sudden the winch bends and breaks off and
Bye-bye.
bye-bye. Keep on going. So, a winch-ready bumper, winch-rated bumper, there are some of the things that you want to look for. Look at the bumper itself. See if there's some, gussets and strength pieces that actually support that pulling power. Maybe check
The
the
thickness
the
of the
thickness
material.
of the material too, really.
I mean, a proper bumper
it
for
should
this
be some
purpose
solid, yeah.
is not light.
No. And yeah, so that's what you're looking for in a winch bumper. Just
Yep.
If you pick it up and it's like 60 pounds,
Yeah,
it's
it's
not the
probably
right
stock.
bumper.
The other thing I think is a feature I see becoming pretty much, I think it's kind of becoming a bit the standard, is
Mhm.
the fact that it can be wired and wireless remote.
Yes.
Now, some of them are Bluetooth and the wireless is your phone.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like these ones where it's just its own little RF setup. They pair. It's convenient to not have the extra
Mhm.
line. You can stand more clear. But if you use the line, or in my case, like I have an issue with the wireless function on mine, the line is pretty darn long.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how long, but it's certainly 15 or
10
20 feet.
They're about 10 feet.
It's a good distance.
Yeah.
So that's something to consider too,
I
because
I don't trust wireless.
you
Nope.
you just wire
I'm
it.
hardwired.
Yeah.
Hardwired all the time. That winch, it has safety involved with it. I want one less thing that can fail.
right.
There you go. That's fair.
I think wireless winching is the dumbest thing out there, and I will stand on my pulpit and argue that to the day I die.
Yeah, I
And Bluetooth is even dumber.
agree.
Sorry.
But
That's another
I
conversation.
can't even pair my headphones, and
yes.
all of a sudden the phone rings.
No,
The
it's
thing
just-
goes in
sorry,
reverse.
we're going to get real off topic here, but it's the structure behind Bluetooth and the communication protocol. I'm sorry, this is annoying, but
Yeah, I'm not
get me fired
a
up
fan
now.
of that with the phone. The wire is long enough to get to the
That's what I
cab of
mean.
your Jeep.
It's certainly
and
not-
That's
it's
where
like-
you
mine's
need
like
to be
15
when
or
you're
20
running.
feet.
Absolutely.
That's where you need to be when you're running the control anyway.
Yeah.
You should be behind the wheel, and it should be you doing it, not
Correct.
someone else.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Any other things to consider for a newbie?
Yeah.
Go take a class of how to winch.
Yes.
Ding,
If
ding,
you
ding, ding.
really don't feel comfortable, there is a great gentleman in the Northeast named Kyle, and he owns this company called Off-Road Consulting.
Yes.
And he does a whole bunch of classes, and he'll teach you everything you need to know about proper winching. If not, there is a lot of literature online There is a lot of videos on YouTube, this, that, and the other thing. Try to gather a lot of knowledge. Try to prepare yourself if you get into this situation. Practice it. You can practice at home.
Yes.
Practice hooking everything up. Get comfortable with all your, the equipment that you have. Just check it out. All your D-rings and putting it around a tree and just getting the feel for it. Try using a snatch block. See what it's like. Understand that it's going to pull half the speed that it actually is. The winch is going. Just mess around with your equipment.
Yeah, and I caution people to the video thing kind of because everybody claims to be an expert. Not everybody is.
Right.
This is a life-saving, potentially life-saving or life-threatening practice.
Yes.
I be discerning about your video watching. Make sure that the person is actually an expert.
Yes.
And not a YouTube expert.
Correct.
You
can tell that pretty usually.
I hope so, but that's my disclaimer for that particular thing. Kyle and Off-Road Consulting or that kind of there are businesses out there that that's what they do. I know he flies across the country giving winching lessons.
He does.
To fire companies, to power companies.
Well, it's recovery in general. Because I've seen him do several of his classes, and it's it goes well. The winch is just one of the tools.
Yes. So, no. Also, with a newbie is don't go out and spend all this money on equipment just to spend money on the equipment.
Because you're not going to use it.
Some of it you're not going to use. Some of it you will. Some of you won't. But make sure you have what you need by being a discerning.
Yeah, basics to have: tree saver and soft shackle or D-ring, and you can start there.
Yeah.
Yep. Basics.
Yeah, and a strap. You need at least a strap.
Yeah.
Extension, tree saver, some shackles.
The extension saved my hind end because I had a situation. This is the thing I was saying earlier. It's like, here was the situation I had. Is there anything I could have done differently?
Right.
So back in our spring ride, we always have our day before thing.
Yes.
And I cut out a little early because I had the little guy with me, and he was kind of getting to the end of his, no pun intended, but the end of his rope. So we cut out. And I know the park well enough, and it's we're not wheeling. I'm just taking a couple of straight runs back to get to the main road and head back. So, no big deal. We're going through one of the open areas there, and sometimes there's some mounds and some little things. So we just happen to go over the one little mound because it's like, this is kind of fun.
Putts.
And got turtled.
because
it was like really. I think in hindsight, I look back and I go, "This must have been like an ATV little thing," but it was wide enough for me. It wasn't like I was doing something I shouldn't.
Yeah.
So it was, and I think I was going the different direction, so it was very steep on the other side of it. Instead of a steep climb and a run out, I went up the run out, and then the front just
dropped.
And I'm like, and it was really loose. So I'm like, oh, come on. And of course I got the little guy, so it's not like, hey, here, do this, and I'm gonna like lean on it, bounce, and we're gonna bounce it off.
Dad, are we stuck?
And
is this what feeling stuck is like?
And I'm like, well, man, all right, let me go work on this. Of course, it's one of those clearings. There's not a tree in sight. So I unwind pretty far. So this is something, I'm becoming very cognizant that you can't just unwind and unspool the whole thing to the little nut and tape that you've got at the base of your base wraps.
Yeah.
I'm like, you need to keep like 4 or 5 wraps minimum.
Very minimum.
Now, of course, all's I'm trying to do.
You need at least a layer, dude.
And in this case, of course, I'm barely pulling anything. I'm literally just trying to get over some.
You need the
1,000-pound
pull.
I need like the 200-pound pull. Like literally, you and Terry with the rope could have just done it,
pulled it over.
But I'm all by myself.
Yeah.
And I think I'm at this point, I'm at a radio range. I'm like, oh, come on. I'm like, you're just killing me. And thankfully, because I had my full recovery kit, I have a very long strap. I have like a 30-foot strap in that thing. And I made it just enough. And then I took the slack out and got the wraps back over.
Right.
And then just, again, it was
Done.
like, boop, done, off. And then it like literally, and he's like, are we done? I go, well, now it's going to take me 5 minutes to spool the whole damn thing.
So, and like to talk about something, I've done a lot of winching.
Yeah.
I am a winch-maniac. But like most of the winching that I've done is just that. It is 6 inches just to get your tire back on the ground.
Yep.
Or it's, a 1.5 feet and you're good to go.
Yep.
I just need the nudge.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
That situation on the other trail was just. Yeah. It was new, loose. I was undertired.
Mm-hmm.
It that just was excessive to get up and out when we were talking about overheating. But this, it's like you said, I just needed the nudge.
Yep. Yeah, I'd say 90% of my winching is only just that nudge.
Yep.
And when it's the long ones, I don't like those.
I had never wanted like an anchor more in my life to just like go out and whack that thing in the ground.
Like a boat anchor.
Yeah, literally like, a spade anchor. Just be like, I needed to go 10 feet out, go, boop, done, I'm out. Nope. 50 feet away to a tree. It happens.
It does. And I hope that we've answered some questions here. I think it'll be good for us at some point in the near future to do like a winching technique. A couple techniques in an episode. That'd be good. I appreciate everybody for listening, and it's great that we have our live audience. It's also great that we have our downloaded audience, but I want others to hear us, and I'm going to challenge our listeners to help us get the message out there. How can people get the message out there?
Well, you need to share us first. So you can share us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, any social media platform out there. You can share a link to the Jeep Life podcast and say, hey, these guys know a thing or two. Or we just like listening to them. If not, you can leave a review on any one of your platforms that you download and listen to us. It does a great help for us, and it gets it out there to more of your friends. Also, we have a listener voicemail, 484-268-2569. Once again, 484-268-2569. And just remember, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button.
Yeah, I love it. Anyway, our thanks to Armor Light for sponsoring our show, making us look good and helping us out. I got nothing more. So for Jeep and Terry,
Breakabilly,
and Jetty Jason,
here's a big Jeep wave to you, everybody. Cool. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us. We'll see you next week. Promise. No, I don't.
Stay cool in the pool.